Hello, Pickled Onion Knight here, and this is basically going to be a bit of an experiment, this video, in lots of different ways. The first way, as you may have noticed, there's a change of venue. Now, for reasons I'm not going to go into, I can't do the video tonight where I normally would. So I'm going to do it here, and where I am here is basically like the I suppose the games room slash bedroom slash junk room, really. If you've seen Harry Potter and you know what the room of requirement is, it's basically that, but much smaller. So yeah, so that's the first bit. And so what this video basically is I came to a bit of an idea. Now, I know a lot of the people that watch the gaming stuff I've done don't watch the stamp collecting stuff I've done, because why would you if you're not interested? But one of the videos I put up there was basically because stamps is a very sort of collector oriented. It's basically a skewed market. Most things in it have a market value that doesn't really go up or down, and it's, you know, most things are a fixed price. And the only way you can get around that is by buying lots and lots of things in bulk and then basically selling on individually the stuff you don't need. Now, I've come to the conclusion that certainly for a lot of systems, the games market is now going the same way. And depending on what system you collect for, arguably it's been that way for some time. The prices aren't really going up or down majorly. And, you know, what I thought was basically, can I add stuff to my collection that I want, and rather than going and finding these things individually and obviously paying for them individually, can I buy massive lots of stuff and then kind of strip out the bits that I want and sell on the bits that I don't want? So that's basically what this video's about. So I don't know what to call it. I'll probably call it something really clickbaity, like how to get your games for free or something like that. I don't know. So what I've decided to do is I've given myself a budget. I've given myself a budget of £200 as an experiment to see if it's possible. And I'm going to include all the associated costs, so i.e. all postage costs, so for stuff to get to me, and the postage costs to send it out. I'm going to include any eBay fees if I get them, which I suspect I will, because most of them are going to be, most of the stuff is going to be resold on eBay, so I'm going to have to include eBay fees, PayPal fees, all that sort of thing. And can I get the games that I want to keep for less than market value? No. And then basically sell on, and maybe even get the stuff that I want for free, or as near as free as possible. So that's basically what the idea behind this is to just see if it's possible. So with that in mind, I've already picked my console, something that I do want to actually build up a collection of games for. I've already purchased 2 big bundles of stuff, and they've arrived. As you can probably see, the almost empty box that's next to me. No, I haven't properly been through the whole thing yet. I've sort of taken stuff out of the box and had a quick look, but I haven't properly been through it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So before I gave myself a budget of £200. I have spent £178 and 16 pence. So that's basically given me a leftover of £21.84. So that's obviously going to be factored into, you know, bubble envelopes and yeah, that sort of thing, postage, that sort of thing. So I'm going to see at the end of it how much I've managed to get for my £200 and how much of that £200 I've managed to make back. Do you follow? So this is basically, I'm going to be filming this on one on one day, and then once everything's sold, so obviously this video, where are we now? It's the 13th of July now. I don't imagine that this will all be done and dusted for at least about a fortnight, so expect this video to go up sometime towards the end of July, which hopefully it will, and by the time you see this it will. So the console I've chosen to go for is Sega Megadrive, basically. Because it just seems to me that that's a bit more of a fluid market at the moment. Like, the prices are fluctuating, and sometimes you get good deals, sometimes you don't. Whereas something like a Super Nintendo, it is becoming very much like that previously mentioned stamp market, where everything does have a sort of market value that doesn't really go up or down. So yeah, I'll just basically, let's go through what I got, and then I'll just go through it with you. So, the first thing is, whoops, if I get that controller out of the way, is a Menacer, and it does have the receiver with it, which is in the box over there, and yeah, so that's very exciting. Now, where do the one thing you do need to do with these is check for corrosion, and I'm pretty sure there's a battery door somewhere on these. Certainly is in the Super Nintendo one. Oh, bloody hell. I don't know how to get these things off. Right, so they come off forwards. Ah, well, I'll have a look. So yeah, Sega Menacer gun, and like I say, the receiver's in the box. So there's that. I got now a Mega Drive 1 console, not the high definition version, and it's not in the best condition. It's got the volume control is missing, and I think something may have come loose inside, because the on-off switch doesn't seem... I don't know if you can hear that. It just doesn't sound quite right. I haven't tested any of this, but the door is still here for the Sega CD add-on, so that's handy. Quite often they're missing. So I don't know about this. It doesn't look like it's been kept in the best condition. The telltale is usually the screws, but there's no sign of corrosion on them, so that's fine. Right, and this came with two controllers, although I can see immediately, I don't know if the camera's picking this up, but there is a lot of corrosion on the screws here, so this has obviously got water damaged at some point. So that's one of the controllers. They all came with the coaxial leads, so the RF leads. So that's there. What have we got here? Oh, that's the attachment for the Menacer, gun. So that's there. What else is in the box? Let's have a look. That's the plug. I don't need to show you the plug. Ah, here's another controller. And again, these screws are all, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, I hope it is, but these screws are rusty as hell. So some of these are going to have to be opened up and checked, because if there's corrosion in there, that's them knackered. Right, what else? Master System converter. Now these are handy things, and again, look at this. Look at the screws in there. Absolutely rusted. Now it did say on the listing when I got this that it had been sat in a loft for a long while. So I'm hoping that rust is just superficial. But to be fair, this is only a cartridge pass-through anyway, so if anything is damaged, I can't see much corrosion on the connectors, but if anything is damaged, then hopefully it can be repaired, because I do want one. This is one of the things that I would keep, is this. Yeah, there's no visible corrosion in here. If you, oh, I don't know if you can see in there, but that's something that's going to have to be looked at. And the games that came with it. So we've got Road Rash 2, the EA Classics version, cartridge and manual. Now, because this isn't the original box, this is the EA Classics box, so this is basically the second issue of the game. For some reason it's worth slightly less, and I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. That's a variant that's worth slightly less. Tailspin, just the cartridge, no manual. Oh, I can hear the cat outside. You're not coming in, I'm busy. What else? NHL 96. Now this is one I would keep, possibly. Oop. And it's got the big hefty instruction book in here that won't go back in, although one of the clips that holds it in is missing, so that's obviously, I was going to say it brings down the value, but to be fair, it's a sports game. These aren't worth very much anyway. The Menacer cartridge with the manual, so there. And that obviously I will, because I don't actually want a Menacer gun, for the simple reason that I don't have a CRT television. So obviously when I sell that, it's going to go as untested, because I've got no way of testing it. I don't have a CRT. Oh, I play everything on flat screen LCD television. So I don't have any means of testing it, so that will have to be sold as untested. Altered Beast, so nothing amazing there, and no manual to boot. What else is in here? Right, let me just see if I can put stuff to the side here, because that might make it easier. Sonic the Hedgehog. Manuals seen better days, but it is there. Cartridge and manual, so that's handy. I've already got Sonic the Hedgehog, so I don't know what that's worth. Probably on eBay, probably about a £5, maybe, if that. Right, Lion King. Now, the more eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that this is a Genesis game rather than a Megadrive game, and yes, this is a Genesis cartridge. Now, the thing is, although this will work with a PAL console, you can put it in and it will play, but it will play. See, the PAL version of The Lion King was 50 Hz optimized, which means it plays at its normal speed even on a 50 Hz console. There's complicated, if you don't know the reasoning behind it, I'm not going to go into it here, but basically PAL consoles, like the ones in Europe, play at 50 Hz because that's the way the TV signal's set up. Whereas NTSC consoles, so that's American and Japanese ones, play at 60 Hz. So PAL games are generally 17% slower. Although in the Lion King's case, the PAL version has been PAL optimized, which means it plays at the proper speed even on a 50 Hz console. Now, although this will play in a PAL console, because this is not PAL optimized, it will actually play slower than the PAL version, if you see what I mean. So it's possibly worth selling, but possibly not to somebody in Europe, because they're not going to get the most enjoyment out of this playing this on their PAL console, unfortunately. But, you know, that's how it goes. PGA Tour Golf. Now, I'm pretty sure I've already got this, so I don't need it, but like I say, it all came as part of the bundle deal. And what's left in the box? Well, I've got the instruction manual for the Megadrive, so I suppose I could put that up as manuals, because eBay has a manuals section now, so I could always put that up in there, see if anyone's missing it out of their boxed Megadrive. And then I have... Oh, hang on. There's more in the box than I thought. Right, so there we are. There's the last 5 out of that box. Jimmy White Whirlwind Snooker. Now, I'm guessing this is a PAL exclusive because nobody in Japan or the state... Although I suppose the Japanese would know who Jimmy White is now. They probably wouldn't know who he was then when this game came out. Because he plays a lot of snooker in the Orient now. But anyway, yeah. Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. Probably one of the best snooker games for the Megadrive. Never played it, no idea. And then 4 Master System games, hence the Master System converter. So, Prince of Persia, which is there. No manual, unfortunately, which is a real shame because with the manual this apparently goes for quite a bit. People like Prince of Persia, especially the classic ones. Jungle Book. So, again, no manual, cartridge only in the box. So these are some of the later Master System games. You can tell because the covers have got actual art on them rather than just scribbles. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So the manual's in here and the cartridge. But seeing US gold here doesn't fill me with lots of confidence, to be honest. And, oh, right, part of a pack only, not to be returned separately. So that gives it a little bit of prominence. I don't know what that's about. Then, yeah, Batman Returns. And again, the manual's in here. Whoop! No, it's not. Right, so yeah, the manual is here because it's just fallen down. Get back in the case, you git. There we are. And the cartridge. And everything's hunky-dory. Right, now, on to the second box. So if I... Whoop. Try not to kill myself while I'm reaching back here. Yeah. Right. So, Sega Mega Drive 2. Let's check. Reset button's a bit sticky, so this will probably need a clean as well. And but the power button sounds exactly as it should, so that's fine. And again, the expansion cover is still there, so that's good. What have we got here? Power pack, controller. Yeah, see, I don't know. Again, I don't know if the camera picked up that rust before, but if you look at this one, no rust on the screws. You see. And that's how you know it goes with the Mega Drive 2. It's got the red start button. See, Mega Drive 1s have the white start button. Mega Drive 2s have the red start button. And Japanese ones have a blue start button, in case that ever comes up. Right, so let's see what else we've got here. And there's a massive stack of games with this bundle. Rugby World Cup 1995. It's an EA Sports one. Includes Quick Guide to Rugby, which is massive. The book doesn't really fit in the case properly. But there you are. It's a quick guide to rugby. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is rare. Every time you see this advertised on eBay, rare Sonic 2. It's probably the commonest Mega Drive game there is. I think it's even more common than Sonic 1, to be fair. But yeah, the instruction manual's there. That is probably one I'm keeping, actually, because even though it's the most common game, I don't have it. Pet Fighter, the Tengen version. I'm not sure if there was an official version. Well, I suppose... And in fact, this is a US version as well. So, how to make a bad game worse. Make it play in slow motion. As I went into with that 50-60 Hertz issue a minute ago. Street Racer. Now, this is a really good game. But it's not as good as the Super Nintendo version, and it doesn't require it, but it's better with a 4-way adapter, which I don't have. And no manual, cartridge only. So I probably won't keep that, because I already have it on the Super Nintendo. So what would be the point? Agassi Tennis. I don't know. Let's see what's in it. Oh, the manual's there and the cartridge is there, so that's good. But the tag has been torn off the box, so European Club Soccer. So this is possibly, and in fact the manual's in here as well. This is possibly one of the best football games on the Megadrive. If you're into soccer games, I should say, if you're into your soccer, that's probably the best one to have. And I think it does do 4-player. No, it does 2 simultaneously, but you can pick 8 players. So, no. Super Hang On. Again, with the tags been torn off. With the manual and the cartridge. Now, this is one I probably will be selling, purely because I've already got Mega Games 1, which this is on, so I don't actually need it, because if I want to play it, I've got it on Mega Games 1. Cyberball. I can't think what that is. Oh, it's American football. I don't know, because there's another American football game later that is probably the one I'm going to keep, because if I only really want one. Oh, and speaking of which, here's Mega Games 1, which I already own, so yeah, this will be... I've got it on cartridge only, and to be honest, when it comes to Mega Drive games, I'm quite happy with cartridge only. I don't really care about having them in the box, because, well, I don't know, I just never really have bothered about it. So yeah, that's basically Super Hang On, which we saw a minute ago, Columns, and Italia 90, which I think became Sega Club Soccer or something later on. They changed the name of it. NBA All-Star Challenge. It's no NBA Jam, is it? No. And again, no manual, just the cartridge in there. Rise of the Robots. Thing missing again. Now, this was a game that was absolutely marketed to the nth degree, and when it came out, it was rubbish, and still is rubbish. It's got to be one of the worst beat 'em ups of all time. Corporation. I don't know. 360 degree 3D role playing action adventure. So yeah. Oh, it's sort of like not Doom exactly. Monster Maze or something, it looks like. Anyway, I haven't played this, so I might give it a quick bash before oh no! Oh no! There's marker pen on the front of the cartridge. P. So if you're Mr. P, I've got your game. Yeah, so I don't know what Corporation is, so not fussed. NHLPA Hockey 93. This is very good. In fact, all the ice hockey games are pretty good on the Mega Drive. It cost somebody £6 at one point, I think. Ugh. And yeah, the manual's in there. Big, fat manual. Oh dear. This stack of games is going to fall in a minute if I'm not careful. Brian Lara Cricket. Not my thing, cricket. Really not my thing on playing as a game. But this is Codemasters, so it's on the Codemasters J-Kart shape there, look. which is what the Micro Machine games and things like that all come on, is that shaped cartridge. Oh, PGA Tour 96. Cool. Big massive manual again, and bing me. I'm going to have to decide which golf game I'm keeping and which ones I'm not. Sonic the Hedgehog 1 again, manual game. So, yeah. Like I say, I've already got it, and I don't need it. John Madden Football 92. I will probably get rid of this one, because I've got very little interest in playing it. Pele, soccer, isn't it? Oh, hello. Oh, this is a funny... Accolade must have made their own cartridges as well. I've never seen that before. This elongated... Sega certainly did have lots of different people making the games, didn't they? And the boxes. Right, I'm going to have to start stacking these here because I'm frightened they're all going to fall and kill me. Pro Quarterback, again, another American football game, which again is a Sega Genesis game. Which somebody bought used for £5. Look. So, yeah. £5 seems like they spent a lot. PGA Tour Golf again. We've already seen this one. And again, it's got the manual, it's got the cartridge. Brilliant. So, there's another double. What have we got here? Bonanza Brothers. I'm pretty sure I've played this before, but I can't tell from the screenshots. It doesn't look familiar. So there you are, Bonanza Brothers. Manual's seen better days, but it's there. And cartridge. Brilliant. FIFA Soccer 95. Again, Euro Club Soccer I liked as a kid, so I'll probably keep that and get rid of the rest. No, also in this bundle, a load of loose cartridges. So Road Rash 2. That's the one I'll probably keep then. I'll sell the boxed one. I'm running out of room over here as well now. Sonic Spinball. Label's seen better days, but if it works, I'm happy with it. Ah! Right. The 6-in-1 Mega Games, I suppose. The M6. Right, so... Let's have a look. Sega Soccer, which again is World Cup Italia 90. I don't need because I've got that on Mega Games 1. Columns I don't need because I've got that on Mega Games 1. Revenge of Shinobi and Streets of Rage, I've already got Mega Games 2, so I don't need that. Sonic 1 I've already got. So the only one I'm missing is Super Monaco GP. And that's not one of my favourite games, so I might well punt this back on eBay. I might keep it, but I don't know. Desert Strike, fantastic game that. Jungle Strike is better, but Desert Strike will do. I like Desert Strike. The Aquatic Games, starring James Pond. That's pretty good. Another Menacer cartridge. Don't know what I'll do with that. I've only got one gun. Fantasia. I can't remember if this is any good. And actually, this is a Genesis one, so it's going to play slow. So, maybe I'll get rid of that. A lot of these I will be able to post internationally, so I will make sure that these get international postage in case somebody with a Genesis wants them. Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Again with marker pen, and it seems to be the same guy. P. Don't know. Weird, isn't it? Super WrestleMania with a price sticker on it from Cash Converters or something. All the wrestling games are pretty good on the Megadrive, so may well keep that. Probably couldn't sell it in that condition anyway, nobody would want it. No, this is the football game I'm definitely keeping, because I saw this earlier when I had a quick look through. Mutant League Football. Forget your Maddens. If you like American football, you want this game. This is genuinely the sort of arcadey American football. That's the one to play. Lost World Jurassic Park. Don't know, I don't think I've played that. And I'm not sure, but it seems to be Mega Games 5. Because I can see just at the bottom there, that seems to be Golden Axe that says. That's probably Mega Games 5. And I can't remember what's on that. But Golden Axe. And that's it. That's everything that I've managed to get. So bearing in mind that whole thing cost me, what did I say, 178.16. So I'm already £21 short of what I wanted to spend. So 178.16 is our magic figure. If I can get all the stuff I don't want sold for as close to that as possible, minus any expenses, obviously that will be taken out of the equation. So although I've included obviously the postage costs when I'm buying the stuff, when it comes to totalling up any money I've made that I've then had to spend on postage is not going to be figured into the final cost. So any outlay is going to be taken off the total, and fees and things. So this is the first part. What comes next is I've now got to test all this to the best I can. Obviously I can't test the Menacer gun. I've got no means to test that, but everything else is going to get tested. I'm going to check that everything works, and possibly that everything's clean. So I might even get another video out of this showing you how to clean the cartridges and clean the systems. Although there's plenty of people doing that, so I might not bother. But I might have different methods, you don't know. Now, a lot of these are sports games, which might fudge the result as well. But I like to be optimistic about these things. So I'm going to have to sort of find a place for this in the meantime while I'm testing it all and sorting it out. And I will be recording the second half of this probably in a couple of weeks' time, and then uploading the whole thing as one big video. So, my appearance is going to change in the next minute or so, and even the setting may change. I'm not sure. It depends where I can get filming at the time. Because to be honest, the next bit is just going to be a rundown of what I got for everything, in case anyone was interested, and the running total will be towards the end. So that's it. I will see you in your time, which is going to be in about 5 seconds, and in my time is going to be about a fortnight. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed all of it so far, and cross your fingers for me, and hope that this experiment works out. And even if it didn't, at least you'll then know that this doesn't work, and you won't have to go to the bother of spending your own time and money doing it yourself. So yeah, brilliant. Right, well, I'm back, and it hasn't been 2 weeks. It's been probably nearer 5 weeks. Right, so let's get right into this straight away. I've got all my notes here. So just to recap, budget of £200. The first bundle I bought was £83.65. The second bundle I bought was £94.51. Total spend on both was £178.16, and my money left over was £21.84 from my £200 budget. Right, so let's get into how it all went. So first of all, I obviously had to decide what I was keeping and what I wasn't. Some things were actually broken. 2 of the controllers were broken. They were knackered. They weren't working at all. I tested them, and it was the two white button controllers that were broken. The red button controller worked fine. The Megadrive 1 played perfectly well once I put a working controller in it. Everything worked fine. The power button, which I was a little bit worried about, worked fine. The volume control was just missing the plastic piece, but was still working perfectly fine. The picture was fine, all the rest of it. The Megadrive 2, however, I couldn't get a picture. Couldn't get a picture at all, no matter what I did. I tried different leads that I had. Just couldn't get one. So basically that was sold as such, and everything was sold as such. So basically, this is like a template for what I put on eBay to get rid of stuff. I'm clearing out Sega stuff that I don't need, but maybe you do. See pictures as they form part of the description. And obviously I took pictures of anything that was damaged or not in 100% condition, even down to like if there was like a scratch on the box or something like that. You know, or the cover of the manual had been bent over, something like that. So you know, you get, I think it's 12 free pictures you get with eBay. So, there's no excuse for putting up one picture. To be perfectly honest, if something's not in 100% condition, I don't think it's an excuse. Anyway, so pictures form part of the description. The description is as accurate as possible. This is what I've actually put on the thing. A, to avoid problems later, and B, to reduce bots and sniping. Which again, if your pictures form part of the description, that makes it very difficult for bots to know what they're looking at. You really are only going to have human bidders, and all these were auctions. I haven't put up anything as buy it now. It was all auction. Please bid accordingly. I have a lot of different things up for auction, so feel free to check my other listings. International postage is done through eBay's own system. Sometimes, I'll get onto that later. If eBay doesn't deliver to your country, then neither do I. Postage will not be renegotiated after bidding ends. And for a game, the average postage and packing was £3.15, and unfortunately that's what it's got to be, because it costs £2. It costs £2.80 basically for postage of a envelope to fit a game in. So £3.15 I think is reasonable, because that allows for me buying the bubble envelope for it to go in. And you know, I think it's fair. Lots of people will give free postage and packing, or price it at like £1 or something. I don't believe that I should have to pay out for postage and packing, especially when most of the auctions start at a very low price. So £3.15 postage and packing. Right, so I'll just explain, like I say, that both of the consoles in one way or another were basically sold as non-working. So that obviously brought the price right down. Now, what I could have done is listed the Model 1 Megadrive with the red button pad, and then it would have been a fully working system. But I think it's my own fastidiousness got in the way of that. I couldn't. There is no way I could list a Mega Drive 1 with a red button pad and there was no way I could list a Mega Drive 2 with white button pads and sell it as a completely non-working system. It's just impossible, because I know the Mega Drive 2 came with the red button pads and the Mega Drive 1 came with the white button pads. And the Japanese one comes with a blue button pad, in case you're interested. So I couldn't do that, so I had to sell both of the systems as non-working. I did outline all the testing I went into, and all the games. Some of them were actually Genesis games, as you saw, but they will play. All of them ones that I had will play on a PAL console, albeit probably not at the correct speed. I mean, for instance, Lion King, the Genesis version. Now, I've never owned the game, but I've played it on an emulator, and it seemed like it was playing slow, because the PAL version of the Lion King will play at the normal speed because it's PAL optimized. Do you know what? I'm not going to get into this. Just suffice it to say, they will play. So that was all fine. So that brought the price down a little bit, the fact that I had to list both of the consoles as non-working. But I have sold a reasonable chunk of the games, and I'll get onto a story later on, which is one of the things I'm going to come to that illustrates why you should never sell anything on eBay. But there you go. Right, so what have I decided to keep, first of all? Well, I've decided to keep all the cartridge-only games. So they're all in there. You've seen them before. I went through them. So Fantasia, Captain Planet, and all the cartridge-only games basically I've kept. And then I've kept a handful of stuff. Oh, by the way, the Master System converter, although as you can probably see here, the screws are still rusty. So rusty, in fact, I couldn't get them out. They just kept heading as I was trying to turn them, so there was no way to do that. Luckily, a good spot clean on the edge connectors, and you're not going to be able to see this, but they are shiny. A good spot clean on the edge connectors and on the inside as well. So that was a library card with a bit of felt round it to clean them, and they have come up pretty well, and it works perfectly. It works fine. I haven't cleaned the card input because I haven't got any card games. If I ever buy any card games, which I think there's only about 8 or 10 available on the system, and they all had a cartridge equivalent, so I might not bother. Then that might be an issue, because I don't know. I don't really know how I'd clean that without opening it up, but oh well. Anyway, but it works for what I want it to do. It plugs in the top and all the rest of it. So I've obviously kept that. I am keeping the boxed Sonic 2, the boxed Corporation, the boxed Euro Club Soccer, which is the best football game on the console. So if you, I know everyone poo-poos sports games, but seriously, the Megadrive, for the 16-bit era, the Megadrive had the best sports game. So if you think you've played NHL 96 on the Super Nintendo, you haven't. You've played the inferior version. This is the better version, and that is kind of a rule for sports games on the Mega Drive. They have the best versions. So what else have I kept? I'm keeping Prince of Persia for the Master System, because that is probably one of the best games on the Master System. I think it was originally developed for the Amiga, but it is really good on the Master System. I'm keeping Sonic 1 for the Mega Drive, although I already have it. Mine isn't in this nicer condition. With the manual looks like it's barely been opened. All right, the cartridge is a little grimy perhaps, but mine isn't in this good a condition. Rugby World Cup 1995 I'm keeping, because I don't think... I think this is a PAL exclusive for the which is odd for Electronic Arts, because they didn't normally do them. But I think I'm right in saying that this is a PAL exclusive for the console, so I'm keeping that. If it turns out it's not, like I say, sports games on the Mega Drive, they just sort of go hand in hand. It's pretty good. Bonanza Brothers I'm keeping, and last three, FIFA 95. PGA Tour 96 and Cyberball. Right, so I'm keeping them. I might eventually get rid of FIFA 95, because like I say, Euro Club Soccer is the best football or soccer, however you prefer, game on the system. That's... Anyone will tell you who's into football games and knows about and had a Mega Drive at the time, they will tell you Euro Club Soccer is the one to get. Right, so that's what I'm deliberately keeping. So let me go through now the stuff that didn't actually sell. Whoops. I've got this all separated out in different bags. What am I doing? Yeah, so, and all the cartridge games, how many was there? I don't know, about 15, 16, something like that. So I'm keeping all that. So that's safe. So what I'm not keeping, Mega Drive instruction manual. I don't need that, but I didn't actually list this because I completely forgot it was there. I know, crazy, innit? But somebody will. It will actually be worth listing this, even if I only get £1 for it, for the simple reason that there will be somebody out there with a Mega Drive 1. With no manual, who needs it to complete the box. So even if I only get £1 for it, it's going to be worth listing. But I actually forgot to do it. I was going through the box and I went, oh no, I forgot to list that. But I would have probably only got £1 or something for it anyway. So this is what didn't sell. PGA Tour Golf. Now, I had 2 of these, and one of them didn't sell. Pro Quarterback, Genesis, didn't sell. Agassi didn't sell. Mega Games 1 didn't sell, because let's face it, most people have already got this. What else? Pit Fighter didn't sell, because it's rubbish. Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker didn't sell. Jungle Book on the Master System didn't sell. Rise of the Robots, again, didn't sell, because it's rubbish. Indie didn't sell on the Master System. NBA All-Star Challenge didn't sell, and that surprised me because although I think NBA Jam is probably the best basketball game on the system, I thought somebody would have gone for that. Tailspin didn't sell, which was another surprise. So there you are. And Lion King for the Genesis didn't sell. I might consider keeping this. I don't know, because it was one of these ones. When I put it in to test that it was working, I actually played it for about 25 minutes, which set my testing back, obviously, about 22 minutes more than it needed to. So I probably will sell it, but I'm undecided on that one. So I may keep that. But for the moment, I'm keeping hold of these because I'm not. I'm going to list them in a couple of months, closer to Christmas, and see what I get. So these, what are we? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. These 12 games are not. They're factored in at the moment, but in the future they will be gone. Either 11 of them will, or all 12. So I'm fine with that. But I'll just briefly touch on what happened with one of the people. Now, I'm not going to give you his name, even though I have it right here in front of me, because I do. People that mess me about, I do keep a list of them. I keep a list of their name and their name if possible. I mean, you only get their actual name and address once they've gone through the process of actually winning a bid. But I keep hold of their username for future reference. Anyway, this guy lives in Portugal. And judging by the stuff that he has sold in the past and the stuff that he's bought, because if you go to his feedback, you can click on things and see what he's bought and what he's sold. This guy fancies himself as a bit of a games trader, it looks like. Probably kind of what I'm doing, I suppose. Although if he was doing it specifically to sell on, I don't know why he's bidding on individual lots, but there you go. So anyway, he bid on Pit Fighter, and it went for £2.20. So I started all the auctions at £1, I think, and it went for £2.20. He bid on Rise of the Robots, that went for £2. He bid on Indiana Jones for the Master System, that finished at £2.70. He bid on the Lion King Genesis, that finished at £2. And he bid on the Sega Menacer gun and cartridge and all the infrared sensor and all the rest of it was with it, and that went for £15.51. Now, he lives in Portugal, and this is the thing, and for some reason, I suspect it's because it had the word gun in one of the listings, which I should have thought about. eBay International wouldn't post it, so I had to go and arrange postage myself for that one. And what basically happened is, if you're posting internationally, or even if you're not, the Royal Mail has a sliding scale, but that sliding scale basically drops off a cliff edge when you go towards 2 kilos. Anything over 2 kilos, and it drops off the map. I mean, it is so expensive to post, especially internationally. It's crazy. So, and I had only allocated. I only had one large postage box, and he had bought all this stuff. So, what I had to do was put it in 2 separate boxes. So I went and bought a proper lined Royal Mail postage box, which cost me £4, basically, to put the Menace of stuff in, because I didn't want to get them broken, especially when it's going internationally. Because if it had done, I would have then had to pay for the return, and I certainly didn't want that. So what I charged him the total of all the bids. I charged him for the purchase. This was in the invoice. I invoiced him for the purchase of the postage box. The postage box 1, which had all the Menacer and stuff in it, came to £12.10, and postage box 2, which had the games in it, came to £6.20. Now, bearing in mind this is from the UK to Portugal, and so if I had put that all in the one big box and it had gone over 2 kilos, the postage on that would have been ridiculous. I mean, it would have been, it probably would have been about 40-50 quid on its own, which is stupid. So you actually save money by sending things in more boxes, if you see what I mean. That's kind of how it works. So I sent him the revised postage. I sent him the totals for everything, and the whole thing worked out a total, including the postage, including the box, of £46.71. I get this terrible snotty message from him on eBay going, I am not paying this. I have been trading in games for years, and I have never had an invoice like this. This is going to cost me €70 for this stuff. Now, £46.71 I don't think works out as €70, but that's how he had worked it out. So that's what he's saying. And it was just it was absolutely ridiculous. And I sent an email to the guy. I said, look, this is how it is. This is what it's costing me. This is what you bid on the stuff, knowing full well it was going to have to be posted from the UK to Portugal. And the guy was just being an arse about it, basically. So in the end up, what happened is I got fed up, and I thought, well, because I'd already boxed the stuff up ready to go. Before I sent him the invoice, I wanted to get the exact price. So I'd boxed up all the stuff. It was all packaged. I went down to the post office. I had it weighed. I had them tell me how much each box was going to be in exact pounds and pence. And then I took it all home again, so that I could then invoice the guy to whatever. So all in all, it had probably taken me about an hour's work, all total. Well, maybe an hour and a half if you include actually going to the post office and back, because it's not too far away from me, but it's far enough that carrying 2 big boxes is a pain. But yeah, so, and by this point I just got fed up, and he was still being snotty even after I'd outlined exactly what I'd done. And I basically just, all that happened is I gave him 2 days after I'd sent the last email, the last message through eBay, sorry. He had 2 days, 48 hours to pay, or he wasn't getting the stuff. It was as simple as that. So 48 hours came and went. I heard no word from the guy, so I just cancelled his bids, and that's an end to it. And I haven't received any messages back from him since. But I just thought, well, what were you expecting? And to be fair, eBay would have probably charged him more through their international system, because what happens through their international system is I send something to a UK address. They then keep hold of it and basically ransom the person receiving it for however much they want. I mean, it's going to be a reasonable amount, because they don't want to hang on to all this crap in boxes. But I think it is more than what I was going to charge him to send it privately, because I was just going to send it inside continental Europe, surface mail, Royal Mail, which I think is less than the eBay's internal international delivery system. So yeah, So that's all I'll say. Just be wary about things like this. I don't know why eBay International System wouldn't take it. I suspect it's because one of the items had gun in the title, because they have always been funny about that sort of thing. There was even at one point I had to obtain a customs sticker from eBay because the thing I was sending had live batteries in it, which was stupid. But that's how it goes. So anyway, after all this, what am I left with? So as I said before, the money I had left over was $21.84. By the time I've taken out all the eBay fees and all the PayPal fees for what I've actually sold, I am left with I have got £96.40. So adding up them two totals, that gives me a total from my £200 budget that's basically there and what's left of £118.24, which means basically I spent £81.76 on the stuff I've got in front of me. So that's these dozen games, the manual if you want to count that, the 15 or so cartridge only games, the other 10 games that are in there, and a Master System converter. So that was $81.76, which is probably about going rate what you would pay at retail for these. I'll be honest, I could have saved my time better and probably gone to a retail shop or a resale shop like CEX and bought exactly the same amount of stuff for the same amount of money, probably just in as much poor condition, which it does make me wonder, had both of them consoles been working and not had been sold as fully working, I might have done better. But that's what we're left with, £81.76 for that. So now obviously this is a separate experiment. This is separate from my original pickups. So I'm not going to go through all these again when I come to do a pickups video, which will probably be in a few days. I'm just going to say miscellaneous Megadrive games, and if you missed out on what they were here, then you're going to miss out on what they were there. If you skipped over that part, you're going to miss out then as well, because I'm not going to put them in, although they will be counted in with my regular pickups. I'm not going to show them again. So I don't know what to do about that now. So I do know what to do about that, because I've now got £96 something or other sat in my PayPal account, which will go towards something reasonably good. I've already got my eye on something, so that's good. Which it will part fund. So yeah, maybe you'll have to wait till the pickups video to see what that could possibly be. So I'll try and have a think what £96 could only part fund, and maybe you'll guess right, maybe you won't. Get answers in the comments, please, as to what you think it might be. So yeah, just looking at this, I don't think it's been a wasted effort. I'll be honest with you. It might seem on the face of it that it has, when I probably could have just gone to a retail shop. I mean, I wouldn't have got this stuff for that price on eBay. Let's put it that way. I would have to have gone somewhere that knocks out, reasonably poor condition Megadrive games. Had I bought these all individually on eBay, I would have spent far more than £81. Especially the Master System converter, even in poor condition, then things generally go for at least £35 to £40 on their own. So if you take, so let's not be conservative. Let's be liberal about it. Let's say that would have been 40 quid on its own, even in that condition where it needed a clean. You're still talking £41.76 for what, 22 odd games. Plus another 15, 16 cartridge only. So that's not bad. I don't think I've done bad, and I don't really think I've wasted my time. But I think had things been different with M consoles, it probably could have gone better. So yeah, that's basically about it. Can you get your games for cheap if you do this? Yes, you absolutely can. Can you get them that much cheaper that it's worth doing? I suppose it depends how many you buy initially. Would I do this again? Probably not, if I'm honest. If I was to factor in the time, and that is the main thing, if I was to factor in the time, I would say that probably between doing the photographs, doing the listings, testing everything, cleaning the things that needed to be cleaned, I'm probably talking about half a day's work all told. So, I mean, depending on what you would earn yourself for half a day's work, you can consider that a job well done or not. Although, to be fair, it's not time I was doing anything else with. But yeah, I probably wouldn't do this again unless it was something a bit more high ticket. I mean, if I could spend £200 buying maybe something that goes for a little bit more, like maybe a Super Nintendo with, you know, a couple of Super Nintendo consoles with 40 games or something, then, you know, that might be more worth doing, because they, generally speaking, Super Nintendo games go for more than Megadrive games. That's just a fact. Although, saying that, like I say, I mean, if I had done this with Super Nintendo stuff and the half of the bundle was sports games, there's no way I'd make my money back, because sports games on the Super Nintendo don't sell for a lot because they're not very good. There's the odd exception, like, I mean, the original FIFA Soccer is pretty good and things like that, but by and large they're not. So yeah, that's it. And if, as usual with these videos, if anyone has anything to add, you're more than welcome to do in the comments section. You can Twitter me, and you can go and look at some of my other content that I'm doing. So that'll come up towards the end of the video. One thing I did want to mention just before I finish is something that I forgot to mention in a previous video. Something that I should mention before I finish this video is that the main hard drive on my computer has gone right up the Swanee today. So this I've got to get that sorted out before I can even edit this. I'm recording it today knowing full well I'm not going to be able to even get it on the system or start editing probably either until tomorrow or the next day. So there may be a bit of a gap, and if there is, I'm sorry about that, but I will try and get that sorted. And it's my own fault, really. I did an update to the OS, which I really didn't need to do. It was more of an experimental package that offered new features and things like that, and it's completely wrecked all the software that I use to do the editing and things like this. So what I'm going to basically have to do is reinstall the operating system from scratch, and that is not, bearing in mind the amount of stuff I've got on there, that is not going to be an easy task. It's not going to be a quick thing. I'm going to have to configure everything, and yeah, it's just a pain. So I'm just sort of adding this bit in at the end, as you know, because I said in the previous video I did that my intention was to start releasing content again where I hadn't been, and fate, it seems, or maybe the gods of karma have decided that that's not a good idea. What can you do? That's life. So yeah, as I was saying, anything you've got to add, then please do. If you've got your own stories, then you can put something in the comments section, or better yet, record your own thingamabob YouTube video and post it up, and people can see how you've managed to get duped out of your money like an idiot, or maybe you've done much better than I have. But yeah, like I say, in conclusion, I don't think I've done too bad. £81.76 for all that stuff. It hasn't taken a bite out of a Megadrive collection, but it's on its way to being when the Mega Drive is plugged in, I've got no shortage of things to play. Put it that way. And like I say, I haven't. These two piles, the last piles that came out, will probably get sold at some point in the future. So that'll bring that total down. But I may keep the Lion King. Yeah. Oh well. I have been the Pickled Onion Knight, and I will see you in another video.